Hey everybody, I'm Dan Murrell here with my review for Ma, which hits theaters this Friday. Ma is the latest from Universal and Blumhouse, of course, the horror studio known for producing Get Out and Halloween, the reboot that came out last year. There's so many of your movies. If it's been a horror movie, it's likely that it's come from Blumhouse. But not a lot of them have a star like Octavia Spencer attached, who plays the title character of Sue-Ann, who's known to the local kids as Ma, the cool older lady who lets the kids come and drink in her basement. We meet Ma through Maggie, a new arrival in town, who's played by Diane Silvers, who actually also has a key role in Booksmart, which opened last week, so she's having a pretty good summer. But as we learn more about Sue-Ann's past and what Ma's real motivations are, we also learn more about her history. We learn more about the town, about Maggie's mother, who's played by Juliette Lewis, and about other figures in the town, including Luke Evans, who has a key role, and how this this fun-loving older lady may actually have other motives in mind. Ma is really more of a thriller than a horror film. There are some a few effectively used jump scares, but it's not a jump-o-rama like you've seen from a lot of Blumhouse's films. This one is more of a slow burner, but slow burns are fine as long as eventually something boils over. My biggest issue with Ma was that the movie certainly does get the burn right, but it never really boils over for me. It never really brought everything together in a way that really a thriller has to do in the third act to really hit a home run. First of all, if you've seen the trailer for Ma, that certainly doesn't do this movie any favors. I go to the movies a lot. I've seen the trailer for this movie a few times, and it's a great trailer. It does really pump people up to see the film. The problem is that if you've seen the trailer, in large part, you've seen a lot of the movie. There are some twists and turns in the movie that were already given away in the trailer. You've gotten about 80% of the information that you're gonna find out about this film in the trailer. There are no huge twists that you won't already know going in if you're familiar at all with the movie. There is a mystery about Maz Past and what perhaps might be her motivations for some of the things that the movie, what she does throughout the film. And those are the parts of the movie that are the most surprising and certainly the most provocative elements of the movie. But those are in the minority. It's largely actually several different plot threads, different ideas of themes, different vague concepts that you could tell maybe the movie wanted to explore more but never really did, that really hold it back because it never really fully commits to one or the other. There's some really interesting stuff about an older generation using the younger generation's obsession with social media to weaponize that and use it against them. I think that's a really compelling thread if you wanted to go down that road. There is a compelling story about the sins of the past and how an action that you take can reverberate years and decades down the line to affect the adult that you are, to affect your children. There are a lot of interesting forays into that area, but again, the movie doesn't really fully commit and go down that road. There is an interesting character angle with Ma about arrested childhood, about vicariously reliving your high school years and the pitfalls and perils as well as the good parts of that. I think that it's touched on a little bit in the movie, but the motivations also are all over the place, so they don't really go down that side of Ma's character too much. There is a thread about the sort of the after school special angle of the price of taking advantage of somebody older than you, the fact that you may think you're smarter than they are, but they actually have the upper hand. There's a good horror element there that's again touched upon but never fully explored. There's even a racial angle that's mentioned very briefly in one part of the movie that I think could have lent an element to the film that's not really heavily present. It is set in the South, although that's not really integral to the story in a meaningful way. But I think if you could have gone that way, that there might have been a much deeper well of things to draw from. But ultimately, Ma is just sort of it's a scattered mix of all of those things, and it never really cohesively comes together into a really satisfying whole. It also doesn't quite go. I kept waiting for things to really go as far over the top as they kept teasing. Octavia Spencer, and really the rest of the cast, but this is Octavia Spencer's movie, and she doesn't shoulder any of the blame for whatever the shortcomings were that I found in the movie. She's great in this role. The problem is that the role, I kept waiting for her to get that juicy third act turn where she really goes over the top. And while a lot of the actions that she takes are extreme, I never really felt like director Tate Taylor let her go all the way with the performance. This could have been one of the great unhinged performances, and I think that the script calls for it, but it was underplayed. And I don't know if that was an adjustment from the director, if Octavia Spencer, from a character angle, decided that maybe that wasn't the way to go, but I don't think that necessarily served the movie that much. It really is a lot of buildup, but not a whole lot of payoff. The movie just kind of goes where you're thinking it might probably go, and then it's over. I really wish that I had enjoyed this movie more. It was one of the ones that I was looking forward to, and I knew it wasn't going to be one of the top 10 movies of the summer, but it was one of the movies this summer that I was anticipating because I think it had a lot of potential to be something really different and really offbeat, a little bit more of a mainstream version of a movie like Hereditary that we saw last summer, but something in the smaller horror thriller genre that could carve out a niche in the middle of the summer, find an audience, and be one of those movies that we're talking about later in the year when we're talking about the smaller films that were great finds this summer. But ultimately, Ma is a great concept that I think needed more form and follow through and couldn't quite deliver on the promise that it made to the audience. So while I think it's a passable thriller with some effective moments and a few effective scares, definitely some moments that are going to make the audience wince and groan and yell, it's not a recommendation from me. If you have some extra time, if it's something that you think you might like, and you just want to spend an afternoon in a theater, you've seen everything else, maybe give it a shot. But otherwise, I think it's something that you could wait for, or maybe something that you can just see if the opportunity arises. Because unfortunately, Ma is not a movie that I'm going to tell you to run out and see, but not without its charms, and certainly not without its upsides. Did you see Ma this weekend? Are you planning to see Ma this weekend? What did you think? Let me know in the comments below. And of course, as always, stay tuned here on Fandom Entertainment. I will have a review of Rocket Man coming up later this week, and we'll be rolling into X-Men Dark Phoenix and a lot of the other movies that are hitting theaters soon. Till next time, thanks for watching.